Part 2, this is quadratic quadratic, which means parabola parabola. All right, down to the bottom, just draw you a picture. If you have a graph, you have a parabola, and you have another parabola. Okay, they probably are going to cross twice. It's possible that if you slid this parabola down a little bit, they would only touch once. And it's also possible, it looks kind of like a basketball court, and they just never cross each other. So same possibilities, two solutions, one solution, or maybe no solution. Those are the things that could happen. All right, we're solving a system. So we might graph, we may do substitution. We'll just need to look at what we got and make a decision. That's the best thing I can tell you. Look at what you got, figure out what's easier, and take the easiest path. That's the best way to go. We have a y by itself. We have another y by itself. Graphing is probably our best bet in this case. So solve for y. That means subtract this 8, add this 2x. Yeah, I'm doing all this at one time. I think y'all can probably handle it. If not, slow this down, make sure you see what I'm doing. Just adding that to both sides. So x squared plus 2x minus 8. That's one of my equations. Okay, that's one that'll go in the calculator. This one shouldn't be as tough to follow, I hope. Just subtract x squared on both sides. I guess one thing I should point out, remember combining like terms. You can't combine an x squared and a 2x. You can't combine an 8x and a negative x squared. It's just not going to work. It never has, never will. Keep them separate. Negative x squared plus 8x minus, that's a minus, not a plus, minus 12. Okay, you don't even try to combine those as like terms. They're not. They turn into a trinomial, and that's how it goes. All right, so you've got two equations. You can put them in a calculator now, and that's the best bet. So second graph. Oh yeah, notice that was zoomed in. I'm going to want to fix that before I graph. So if your graph looks really weird, you'll see what I mean. You'll want to fix it. Okay, I'll point that out in just a minute. So put both of them in there, hit graph. It's going to look really weird because we're zoomed in. We may not see anything. We saw a little bit of it. I actually saw one of our solutions. That was fortunate. Usually it doesn't happen. But hit zoom 6, reset it. Okay. Looks like we know we got one solution. This one's kind of tough to see. This is another one when you might have to zoom in again. All right, so what's happening is going to probably be between 0 and 3. I'm just thinking domain and range. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, domain from 0 to 3 means from 0 to 3 on the x. And range, well, probably between, 2 and negative 8 maybe. Let's try that. Just the best guess. We don't have to be perfect on this. So I meant negative 8 on that. All right, so 0 to 3 and then negative 8 to 3 on the y. Hit graph, see what that looks like. And if you're pretty sure you had two solutions already, you could have probably found them on the screen before, but I like to zoom in and make sure. Now, there's a gap here, so there's definitely two solutions. And I'll let you know, I made these up, so that's why they're so close together. Most of them on the homework, I think, will have more separation, be a little bit easier to spot. But same idea, second trace, intersect. It's probably getting redundant at this point. There's one of them. You got two solutions now. So 2 zeros, one of them. The other one, second trace, intersect. Remember, second and inner moves faster. Get the x down here pretty close. Doesn't have to be perfect, just close. And 1, negative 5. Okay, there's your other one. There's two solutions. You're done. That's the answer. Two parabolas, they cross two places. That's it. Okay. All right, one last one. Now, I didn't tell you much about this. I didn't tell you how to solve it. Didn't tell you what it was. A little bit different. We got a y squared. We do have a y, but if we try to solve this for y, this y squared is going to really throw things off. If you look at y equals on your calculator, you don't have a y squared option. And you may know how to deal with that, but I'm not going to teach it officially, so probably going to try substitution here. Same deal on this side. You can get x by itself pretty easy. but y, you got y squared, so I wouldn't do that. All right, the y is squared on both of them. Squared means quadratic. These are quadratic, which means parabolas, and you're going to want to do substitution. That's going to be the best bet. Now, I don't care which one of these you solve for, but it's probably going to be easier to solve for x, regardless of which one you pick. And I would say just pick the one that looks easier. It really doesn't matter. And one thing I'm spotting right off, to solve this one for x, I got to subtract y squared. All right, I don't like a negative y squared. It's just I don't like dealing with them. If you don't mind it, then go for it. But I think what I'm going to do is keep the y squared positive, subtract the 8y. All right, so I'm going to solve for x on this one. You only have to solve for x on one of your equations. Just pick one. So 2y squared minus 8y plus 7. This 8y canceled out. Equals x now. You're ready to substitute. You know that x equals this, that whole mess. So over here, I'm going to kind of go up around so I don't get in my own way. X goes in for, well, all this stuff goes in for x up here. Remember, substitution. I know I've said this too many times, but I'm going to keep saying it. X gets pulled out of the game. This takes its place. Right? It's substitution. It's not partnership. It's not teamwork. It's one guy goes out, and these go in their place. All right. So X needs to go away. It's being substituted. It's out of the game. All right. So the 2y, all that stuff, 2y squared minus 8y plus 7. It's all in there for X. Okay. Plus the y squared equals 4y minus 2. So some of these are going to look messy, and I realize that looks messy, but you can handle that at this point. Put your like terms together. It's 3y squared, and then we'll keep everything the same for a moment. All right. Now, you see y squared, or anything squared, that means you're going to have to factor. So get everything on the same side, get it equal to 0. You're going to want to subtract 4y and add 2. Okay. And you'll notice I get kind of grumpy about making sure they line up, and I'm going to probably get grumpy about that in class and make sure they line up. 3y squared minus 12y plus 9 equals 0. Okay. One of the factoring techniques most students forget is common factor. These all have a 3 in common, so before you do anything else, take that 3 out. It's going to make life a lot easier for you. Okay. So do any factoring technique you want to use. 3 equals 0 is never true, so we don't really have to do anything else with that if we're solving. And for factoring, that's a different story, but for solving, 3 doesn't equal 0, so it's irrelevant. Okay? So think of factors of 3 that would add up to negative 4. That's going to be, too late in the day here, negative 3 and negative 1. So y minus 3 and y minus 1 equals 0. If you want to keep that 3 out front, you can. I'm usually big on keeping everything coming down. So all 3 of these things equal 0. 3 doesn't equal 0. That's totally illogical. Throw it out. That means y equals 3 and y equals 1. Okay, so 2 solutions on this one. All right. So somewhere off to the side, I'm going to say, all right, well, 2 solutions. And I'm going to get ordered pairs ready to go. Uh-oh. That may not be off the page, but just in case. 2 ordered pairs ready to go. Y coordinates were 3 and 1. Okay. Here's where you got to be careful. If I plug 3, and you can go back into, you need to go into the original equations that were given. Okay. Once you start changing things, it can mess things up, so just stick to the original ones. I don't know which one's going to be easier here. They're both a mess. So I think I'm going to go with the second equation. I'll put a little star beside it and bring it down here. Just rewrite it. There's no right answer. There's never a right answer. It's just whichever one you think looks better. Okay, so if I put 3 for y here, then that's that 3 is going to go in for both of those y's. So 2 times 3 squared plus 7 equals x plus 8 times 3. 3 replaced the y's. It's substituted in. Okay. Follow order of operations. Exponent first. So 2 times 9 plus 7 equals x plus, and there's no order of operations with the exponents to follow over here, so go ahead and multiply those out. 2 times 9 is 18, and I'm going to kind of draw this out just so you're, make sure you understand what's going on. Then minus 24. I just want you to be able to see every single step. X equals 1. All right, so if I use 3 for y, then x was 1, matches up with 1, 3 over here. Okay, and start it off the same again. Now I'm just going to put parentheses here for y, get ready for plugging something in. It's going to substitute in, so we'll just go ahead and take care of that. If I use 1 for y, okay, put 1 in for y both times. It's substituted in. Work it out. We're almost done. This is a long process, I know. 2 times 1 squared, which is 1, plus 7, equals x plus 8 times 1, which is 8. So 2 plus 7 equals x plus 8. 9 equals x plus 8. And it's perfectly reasonable for it to equal the same thing both times. It happens sometimes. All right, so 1, 3 and 1, 1, those are your two solutions. And that's it.